Hey guys, it's Caleb with Stain and Seal Experts Podcast. Got a great guest for you today. I appreciate you guys watching. Matt Warner. He is the king of culture. He is one of my mentors, and he has helped me a lot with my company culture. And he's always at Staining University teaching folks. And I thought it was a no-brainer to have Matt come on and talk about culture. And we've got no script. This is teleprompter free. So let's bring Matt on. Matt, good morning. Yeah, they hate me in the office now because of that.
It's good. It's good. Positive energy is a good thing.
Yeah, it is. So introduce yourself, Matt. Tell us about you for a second.
Let's see. Where should we start? I am a Nebraska kid. I was born in Chicago, adopted in Nebraska. Grew up on a farm just north of a little town called Waverly, which is just right between Lincoln and Omaha. We're in a town of about 3,500 people. I started a business when I was 18. By the time I was 29, failed completely, filed bankruptcy, completely humiliated my entire family, myself, and pretty much fell apart. It was awful. It was a terrible experience. Worst thing I've ever gone through. It's hard on my marriage, hard on my kids, hard on my community, hard on my grandparents. It was just rough all the way around. So I went in the real world. Part of my problem is I don't think I took good care of my people. I was motivated by making money and put people in crappy equipment. I put people through things that they didn't want to do. I thought if I did it, why wouldn't anybody want to do it? Well, that's just not always the thing that happens. So with that being said, I went in the real world. By the way, this is like the fast forward version to get us up to speed where we're at now. Went in the real world, got a job, went and worked for somebody else, which was a great experience. Had some good bosses and some bad bosses and learned a lot. But I did notice something along the way. I noticed that the companies that were thriving really took good care of their people. And the more I studied that and I watched, I wanted to work harder for them. And I was working for a paycheck. I was nothing more than just a superintendent on a job site, running construction job sites. Fortunate enough, I went to work for a fence company. Then that fence company shut the area that I was in, they shut that down. So in 2009, that basically the bottom of the economy right there, the start of this rush, I started a company called Empire Netting and Fence with an emphasis on the netting. And then we did fence just to kind of cash flow. Had about, 2 or 3 employees, while I also had another full-time job because I was too scared, right? I was so scared that I was going to fail. I was more worried about my plan B. Well, if this doesn't work, then I'll do this. If this doesn't work, I'll do this. And I was constantly massaging my plan B and not even focusing on my plan A. So with that being said, my guys that were working for me my team came to me and said, Matt, we need you. So on August 24th, 2014, I burned the boat. Done. Got rid of plan B. Threw plan B out the window and started focusing on plan A. Went really good for quite a while there. We had a good run, about 2 or 3 years there. It was about 6 or 7 of us. Took good care of my guys. Had a gal doing the books. I didn't pay everybody a lot, but I told everybody, hey, if you come along, I'll take good care of you, and kind of made a commitment to them, which I think I honored all the commitments that I made promises to. But about 2-3 years ago, I realized that we just weren't paying people enough. It not only was it harder to get to get good people, but I just made a commitment that I don't want to be around $9 an hour people anymore. I want to surround myself with people that are making $18, $20, $25 an hour. So back up 2 years ago, I gave everybody a $4 or $5 raise an hour to make sure everybody was up above $17 an hour. Everybody. And if you were making 20, I moved you up to 23 or 24 or whatever it was. With that, we also started implementing, 4 years ago, we started implementing our Monday morning meetings. So now we're up to kind of date. So now we have these Monday morning meetings. We have everybody making better money. Now, how do you get everybody to buy in that we have to work really, really hard to manage our time and all this? So that's kind of where we're at today, is building our culture. I really do believe that I understand that culture is, you have to cultivate it all the time, right? Culture, cultivate. You have to constantly be grooming it. You have to constantly be making it better. I'm not saying we have it all figured out. We still struggle with some things, but for the most part, I sent out not really a survey. It was a questionnaire that I had. Actually, I have it right here. That asked some simple questions, and I was impressed. I asked what's a major life goal? What's a major goal for yourself? What's a major goal for your career? And then they let them fill that out. And then down below, I asked, how are you doing? Meaning, how are you doing as a human? What are your roadblocks, and how can I support you? Meaning, how can Matt or Empire support you? This is a great thing. Simple. I believe in the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, Simon. But I'm going to back up just a second. What instigated this was we had our first ever DUI in a company vehicle. And we have a company policy. If you get a DUI in a company vehicle, it's automatic termination. And Caleb, you know me. I preach. We don't like to fire people. That's not what we are. I believe that Christ has given us a gift of taking care of people, and it's a big responsibility to run a business with, we have like 70 some people. That's a huge responsibility that the good Lord has given us, and I don't believe that firing people is the answer, but this is a hard line that we wrote in the sand 6 years ago when we put our handbook together. And I do believe that one of the easiest ways to have your company and your culture fall apart is to not follow through with the hard lines in the sand. So we let this young man go, but I will tell you, it crushed me. He was just turning the corner, kind of had a little bit of a temper. We had some confrontations with him and some crews, and we've been working on it. We've been trying to groom him and mentor to him. This crushed me. I was, Caleb, and anybody listening, I don't know, it bothers me to let people go to the point where I didn't sleep much. That happened on a Monday night at 11:30 at night. I found out about it around 4 o'clock in the morning when I usually get up pretty early. But now I'm doing 75 hard. So I get up early to get my workout in and get my reading done before my day gets started. It was tough. It ripped me apart. So Wednesday night I went to bed, and I woke up at about 2 o'clock on Thursday morning, and I was wide awake. Got up, went to the gym, got my 45-minute workout done. At 2:45 or 2:50, I came to my office because our gym is hooked right to our office here. As you've seen, you've been here. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a mentoring program. And from 2:50 in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, I called a mandatory meeting at 8:30. Stop all work. Everybody drive here. We're going to set up tables, and we're going to go. My team set up some tables, and chairs in the Wave, which is our batting facility. And I made a mentoring program. I'm totally winging it. Matter of fact, I got up in front of everybody at 8:30. I was still printing off all these sheets that I have for everybody to sign. I was printing them off. I told Jamie, I said, "Hey, you go in there and get things going." I said, "But doggone it, this is a big deal. We've got to do a better job of taking care of each other. Meaning, if we're going to drink, we've got to take care of each other. We've got to look out for each other. If somebody is struggling with a divorce, we need to be there to consult them and be there with them along the way. If somebody's in an abusive relationship, we need to get them help. Our insurance has all these counselors, and I know a ton of Christian counselors that I've met over the years. So I wanted to be able to be aware of what's going on. By the way, I don't know if I'm going down the right trail for this podcast, but this is a story that happened to me literally last week. And I think maybe somewhere out there it'll help somebody, something. So Caleb,
keep going, man. This is real world.
So what I did is I picked 10 leaders in our company. I got 10 leaders. I made this sheet. All this happened from 2:45 in the morning until basically 8 o'clock. We started the meeting at 8:30. At 8:30, I was still making copies, right? So I made my 10 leaders, and I told my 10 leaders, I said, here's what all I know. And I said, we're going to pray about this. We're going to try to figure out how to do this. This is all I know. If you want to be a part of this group, here's my 5 requests. That you start once we pick your group, that you start a group text with them or an email, whichever works better. Sometimes email works better. I want you to know and understand each team member's goals sheet. That's the other sheet I told you about, where the life goal, personal goal, career goal, so on. I want you to explain to the group that you must be willing to be truthful with each other, right? That's a big part of it. Number 4 is you must be willing to start dialogue and keep the group engaged. And I'm talking about my leaders. I want them to start the dialogue. Sometimes the first word's the hardest one, but if you hear somebody else say something, it's easier for you to chime in. So I thought, you know what? It's important to get people engaged and talking. And it doesn't have to be a crisis. It could be anything. So explain this. And then the 5th and last thing is to set a good example. And by the way, Caleb, I have not gotten this from anywhere. I'm making this crap up as I go. And I was very honest with everybody. I got in front of my entire group. My team posted a picture of us in there. And I literally told everybody, listen, folks, I don't know if this is going to work, but I know if we do nothing, that definitely won't work, right? Fail and fail fast. So we're going to do it. And if we make mistakes along the way, we're going to fail fast, and we're going to fix them as we go. The other thing is that I look back, I sat there and I thought back as I was walking that morning in the gym. I thought, when were we the closest? When did I know the most about what was going on in the company? And it was between that 5 to about 8 team members. That's when I knew I was more engaged. I knew about kids' ball games. I knew everybody's kids' names. I mean, it was unique at that time. And I probably knew it even a little bit more up to about 15, but that's when I think we were the tightest. And I'm still really tight with that 5 people. I still have the same 6 people here working now after how many years? So I thought, well, if I break this down to smaller groups and I put somebody, and then I mentor to the leaders mentor to the groups, and we're calling them pods. That's what I couldn't think of anything else to call them pods. So they're mentoring to these pods. So my goal is that the next time a team member is at the bar, and by the way, I don't want to encourage or discourage drinking. I really, truly believe that drinking in moderation is awesome. I love it. Have I overindulged? Yes. I've made mistakes, and I openly admitted that to the group. And I've openly admitted to the group that I'm not saying that I'm holier than thou and that I don't make mistakes. I'm saying that I do make mistakes. I've just gotten lucky and never gotten caught, hurt, or in trouble from doing it. I want to change my life. I want to help you change yours. I'm going to give you each a leader, and each one of these leaders are going to be your support group. If you're at a bar and you're intoxicated and you need help getting an Uber or a ride home or whatever, you can text them. If you are struggling financially and we need to help you financially somehow, you can text them. This is supposed to be a support system, and I'm going to try it for a year, and I'm documenting what's going on, and I'm keeping track of this because my goal is next year when I go to your Stain and Seal University group, I want to talk about this and what we did. I want to have a session where we say, hey, listen, I started a mentoring program. This is what worked. So I want to like learn what's going on, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I even took 4 people. So I named my little group on my text message Fab Five. I got that from the basketball thing with the long time ago. There was a Fab Five group of basketball players. Apparently they were really good. And I sent out a text message saying, hey, super dry. Let's pray for rain. How's everybody doing? That's all I did. And I got 3 or 4 messages back. And, but meanwhile, I've also had some of my team members already just since Thursday come to me. And I'm going to read you one of the text messages. Can I read a text message? Is that weird that we're on a?
Go for it. I think everybody's engaged. Everybody's listening.
I don't know. I might be a little bit crazy, but this is a text message I got from one of my guys. I almost get a little choked up here, Caleb, so bear with me. Matt, I would like to thank you for the meeting this morning. This is that Thursday morning meeting. This is about 3 days afterwards, or that he had to sit and think about this. It was a true eye-opener for myself. Never in my lifetime did I ever dream of working for a company that cared so much about their people and their team. I've worked for some real, he says, assholes, just quote right there, in my life. If you've ever got time, I'd like to sit down and chat. Sounds like we have a lot of things in common with breaking loose from bad influences, and I need to do the same. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity of a lifetime. So that's just one. Out of 70, I bet I had Casey come in here today and said that he's gotten a message from everybody in his group about how incredible this is that they just instantly felt more engaged with the office people. And that's another problem is it's easy to get engaged with our office people, but when you got guys out in the field or at different locations and doing stuff, how do you keep everybody engaged and keep that culture of the, yes, we do care about you. Yes, we have to work really hard. And yes, we have to make the bottom line, and making money and profit is part of the business where we have to have that. But we also want you to know that we care a whole bunch about you and your family, and we're going to take care of you. One thing that instigates what he said there, breaking away, is I feel that if you're going to have good culture in your company, you have to be a little bit willing to share your story. Not the owner either. It could be anybody. Share a story of where you struggled in life. So I Thursday morning, I told them all. I had a friend of mine. We grew up together. We were inseparable from probably second grade all the way till we were 25 years old. And him and I, he was best man at my wedding. He just passed away a couple of years ago, which was sad because same age as me, 8 days younger than me, actually. But I told everybody that I had to make a decision at about that 24, 25 years old. Was I going to go to the bar and shoot pool, or go home and help my wife raise our family? At that time, I was farming. I was a cowboy, believe it or not. I used to do a lot of roping and riding, and being a cowboy was my thing I love to do. But I had to make a decision. And I told them all, I said, if you all show me your 5 closest friends, I'll give you a glimpse of what your future will probably look like. Now, I'm not picking on anybody's friends, Caleb. Not trying to say that all of a sudden you got to say all my friends are morons, or I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's hard. It's hard to constantly fight or say no, or even say yes to your peer group. And you can stand up to them, and maybe you're even the leader. But even when you're the leader, sometimes you get your endorphins going, and you get all jacked up and excited because you're leading the party. So choose your friends, the ones that are focused in life. Focus is a big part. We talked about that at your training. Being focused and knowing what you want is a big deal. I believe that in order to have great culture, your leaders in the company have to be focused and have to be goal orientated, and you have to be all rowing the same way.
Got to pull on the same end of the rope.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right. It's a big deal.
Yeah, this is true. I agree with you, and showing a little vulnerability. I think a lot of leaders want to act like they've got it all figured out, and so showing some vulnerability is a big thing. And, yeah, but you're right about the 5 friends or the 6 friends or the 2 friends, whatever it is. It's kind of a true thing.
Yeah, surround yourself with like-minded people. It's the same thing too. And that doesn't mean go out and find a bunch of holy rollers. Some of my closest friends are Bible-believing people, but they're not. They don't have the faith that I have, and I'm hoping to put some of my faith onto them and have them share some of their other experiences with me. So I hope they're using me. I'm a fairly spiritual guy, as you know. I'm a little wild and crazy. I like to light up the room sometimes, and I'm not afraid to give somebody a piece of my mind. But I also know that if you surround yourself with people that are wanting more out of life, you're probably going to get more out of life. If you're surrounding yourself with people that want to just take from life, then you're probably just going to try to take from life. Right?
That makes sense.
So,
I'm glad you shared that with us, because it's pretty much off script from what I had expected today, because every time I've been to your place or been around your people, it's world class. It's almost like the what's the hotel where the Ritz-Carlton? It's almost like a Ritz-Carlton experience. And at first I thought, well, Matt must have a really big stick and everybody's just afraid. So this is a special occasion. But then year after year I keep coming around, and it's a normal thing. And so it's interesting to look from the outside thinking, wow, Matt's really got this all figured out. And then see you found another problem and you've worked to fix it. So, and I think maybe whoever's watching, maybe give us a thumbs up if you agree with that. But that's interesting. So what do you think? So here's something I think guys are going to talk about, and we're going to have to change downshift from where we were. But the first thing you said was you started paying people more. How did you get over the fear of that, the worry? Because here's the questions, everybody. The questions that are the objections. People are going to say, well, no one else is doing it, or it'll price me out of my market, or it'll whatever. Tell me why culture and not a new bass boat?
Well, so a little bit of it was a calculated risk. I don't want to kid anybody. Caleb, as you know, you've been around me enough, you know that I'm very into my books. I know my overhead. I know my costs. I know where we're at. I know our goals. Well, our team was exceeding expectations. And, it's easier to give a big one-time bonus check, right? That's the smart business way to do it, is give that $5,000 to $8,000, maybe $10,000 bonus check. Just give it to everybody, because then you keep everybody grinding down here. They're excited, and it's a very short-term fix, right? It gets people energized. And I've done that. I've given lots of bonus checks. I love writing bonus checks, and I firmly believe in bonus checks. I think a bonus is a great motivator. But I knew that I needed to do something more, and I needed to put more right in their pockets. Now, I was looking at where we were at for the year, and I was like, holy cow, we're going to exceed my numbers for overhead. I knew the exact percentage, and I was like, holy cow, we're gonna meet our numbers for what we need for overhead by mid-August. I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. Our people are really doing a good job. We're getting jobs done. I was sitting there and I was going, oh my goodness, I need to reward these. I need to reward this, but how do I keep it going? How do I keep this going? Because I knew we were at this so many million. I don't like to talk numbers, but I was at this number, and I knew we were going to grow by about 30% then by looking at the predictions, right? The forecasting our workload. And I thought, I started running the number. I was like, I need to elevate everybody's pay. And instead of taking that extra overhead money in, keep bidding the jobs where we were, which we were already testing the market to see if we could get a little bit more out of it. And if we were still landing jobs, and we were, let's give that to our people. Let's double down. And that was 2 years ago. Caleb, in 2 years, we're going to double. More than double, and it's working. The paying the people better and having good people that do good jobs. We're still landing work. We don't land every job. Matter of fact, we only land about probably 38% of our jobs bid. We land. Now, I will tell you, all the negotiated jobs, we get all of them, and probably 70% of our work is negotiated work now, because that's our business model. And I've chosen to take us down that path. Now, that's a tough path to go down when the economy is not very good. So we are already starting to shift how we do things now. In case the economy takes a little bit of a dip here, I do believe we're at the start of a recession, which is a whole nother topic. But let's don't go down that road. Maybe we can do that in a couple of weeks. But I also noticed that as we were paying people more, and after I'd paid them, gave everybody just across the board, everybody got a raise. I brought them in. I started talking to them about 6-8 months later, and I'm like, hey, is this extra money doing you good? Are you saving some? Have you upped your 401k? Have you? Are you putting some money away? Are you? And the one guy, he said to me, he goes, holy cow, we have more money in our savings account than we've ever had now. Perfect. That's what we want to hear. We want you putting, by the way, I firmly believe that cash is king, and it is important to have some cash on hand at all times. I'm a Dave Ramsey believer to a point. About 70% of what he says I support. But one thing he supports is have 4 to 6 months worth of living in the savings account is a brilliant idea, and everybody should do it. So I believe by us taking better care of our people also helped us create better culture, because now people are being taken care of. And by it's scary to pay people more. Let's don't sugarcoat it. Let's don't BS each other. Let's be honest. Damn it, it's hard. You take somebody from $19 an hour to $23 an hour. That's a big change. Your work comp goes up, your FICA goes up. Everything goes up. It sucks. But I'm telling you, if you do it right and you plan for it, it'll happen.
I agree with that. What do you, so once you made the change, what was the rally cry that you got together and said, hey, we're doing this, but here's the expectation. Here's what we got to do to keep this so we don't backslide. Did you have a conversation like that?
Yeah, 2 weeks before I decided to implement this, I went to my core leadership team. I do have an inner circle. I don't know if that's nice to call it that. I don't know what business calls it, but I have it's some inner guys that have been with me from the beginning. When I still had a full-time job, they were with me. So I went to them, Scott and Jamie and Sarah, and I said, listen, this is what I'm thinking. I've ran the numbers. It's an experiment. I think we're going to be fine. We're still landing projects. I think we'll grow. If we grow, our rent's not going to go up, right? I mean, our building is what the building is. We have a little bit. Well, at that time, we had a little more room here to kind of still fill up some corners and stuff. We're actually full now, getting ready to build the next one. But I said, hey, we got to take this calculated risk because we got to take care of our people. Our number one asset is our people. And that is no BS. I believe in that, and I believe in it with all my heart. And if you look around and you study all the great businesses, every single one of them is going to tell you the same thing. Take good care of your people, and your good people will take care of your customers. That it really does work. Chick-fil-A, they got it figured out. Look at them. They've been the number one restaurant for like 7 years running in America because they figured it out. The little things count too, right?
And they make more per restaurant than all the others in only 6 days a week.
Right.
So, yeah.
I heard a number once. Somebody said they'd make like $1 billion more a year if they were open on Sundays, but they don't even care because they want their people to have a day off to shut down.
Yeah.
You can't work your people to death. It doesn't work anymore.
No, I agree. Times have changed. That's interesting. I like it. We got some people saying hello. Somebody says friends. Somebody says what's up. It didn't say who it was. Adam Sims. You remember him from Freedom Fencing, Georgia, Metro Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, he wants us to go down a rabbit hole. He'd love to hear any thoughts on recession preparations, whether we go there or not.
Let's do that next time, man.
Yeah,
I'm
with you. I've got
some philosophies on that, but that's a whole hour episode. I will tell you that if you have good culture, that is part of my recession-proof plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is to not lose anybody, right? And keep everybody healthy in the company. We're doing a wellness thing. I'm doing 75 hard, and I've got 3 other people in the company that decided to do 75 hard right along with me. Rachel's doing it also, Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing that together. We started a boot camp at noon that you can do. We're starting this mentoring program that I have no idea what it looks like yet, Caleb, but I just said, let's go. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, that's it. I like it. So I'm out of questions. I mean, I'm just sitting here taking all this in. I took some notes. Maybe if anybody's watching or listening, they'll have some more questions. It says your SOS, your service operations supervisor is here. Oh, that must be Joey. Joey, what's up, man? Glad to have you on the show. So Joey's one of our, he's our service operations supervisor. He's basically really great stain guy. Great, awesome. Just awesome. So that's what he is. Great people make great companies. So
I will tell you this too. If you have good culture and your people, and you ask your people, like our Monday morning meetings, when we're looking to fill a spot, I'll ask my people, hey, if anybody wants to apply for this position, or if anybody knows of somebody. Next thing you know, they're calling their friends. Hey, you should come join this. I've heard about this. And if you have good culture and you take good care of people and you actually care, it's easier to fill the bus. And
I agree.
I just don't have any right now. Matter of fact, I had to tell everybody, say, whoa, I think we have enough people. We're good. Now, if you got somebody good, bring them on. But holy cow, guys, let's slow down a little bit here because I just don't have any problem finding good people.
Yeah, so I got a question for you when it comes to that. What advice would you give somebody who has a team they need to bring on? The team's screaming, we need more people. How do you go about evaluating? Do we really need more people, or do we need more efficiency, or do we need a piece of equipment? How do you take on that challenge?
Well, first of all, I believe there should be a rule in business. In my philosophy, I don't care what you're doing or how you're doing. If you come across a good human that is really smart, great work ethic, has a self-starter, motivated, has a couple areas of expertise, get them on board. Just get them on board and plug them in. I've got a guy right now. He's starting on Monday. Everybody's like, what's Dirk going to do? I'm like, I don't know yet, but he's awesome. He's a good dang human. We're going to use him. We're going to put him to work, and he wants to be here. And he's had his own business. He's been doing his own business for the last 8 years, and he's just gotten burned out on it. And he just wants to help somebody else. I can't believe we're getting him. Actually, I'm super jacked up. So that's rule number one. Rule number two is always, I think, look inside first and evaluate. And don't always take your best guy and put it on a problem. That's not the answer, by the way. I can go solve a lot of problems, but it's not going to do this company any good if I go over and solve a big problem and take all my time doing it. It's not. And I tried to do this once. I got burned. Actually, twice I've gotten burned on this. I've taken an area of our companies that were failing, and I went and I grabbed Scott or Jamie, and I said, hey, you guys are awesome. You got to go fix this. No. That's when you have to look out, maybe even outside of the company. So, you know what? We need a fresh set of eyes to evaluate this. So go look for somebody outside. Plus, you should always be looking for good people anyhow. Every entrepreneur should be looking for good people to surround themselves with. The final thing is that you need to figure out there's math that you can do to say, you know what, in order to do $2.5 million worth of work, we need 10 people. I mean, in the fence industry, that's about what it is. If you tell me, if you were a fence guy and you said, hey, I have 20 people, I can tell you, oh, so you're around that $4.5 million. I mean, because I've done this long enough. I know what it takes to execute it. It's not perfect science, but there's little tricks that you can do. Mark Olson, Florida Mark Olson, taught me this. And it's a little number he uses, but every industry is a little bit different. You have to figure out what yours is. And as you grow, that's when you start thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, we've got this many millions of dollars worth of backlog. That's a 30% growth. We probably need to add 2 or 3 people. So then start looking for them before you really need them. Start thinking about that, right? It's the same thing I say with anything. If you're growing, go talk to your banker before you need money. Go talk to your insurance guy before you need more insurance. Go talk to your car dealer before you need more vehicles, because you don't want to have to get in a crunch and go, oh crap, I've done that too. That's really hard on your. That's why. Remember one time I told you, I said going from that 3 to 7 is really, really tough. 3 million to 7 million is really, really tough.
Yep.
Because you're too stubborn to. Not you. Okay, but you're too stubborn to look ahead and say, oh crap, we need to add some people in this area.
Yeah. Because
the growth is already here. We've got it. It's on the backlog. It's on the work. We already see our companies are doing this, right? And then they always plateau. And then when they start doing this, you want to back here when they're flat. That's when you want to start recognizing you need people. And then right when it starts to curve, you're plugging them in. They're trained and they're ready to go. That's what's important, is to be looking ahead and saying, okay, this is where we're going. We need to add some people. And, every once in a while, you're going to be a little top heavy in a department. But you've got to keep pushing that sales and that volume. That's when sales starts to be so important, is when you're a little heavy in an department. I'll never forget, we were right around that 5.5, maybe 6 million mark. And I had way too many office people, way too many. But I had found good people. I plugged them in, and I woke up one day. I went, uh-oh, I got too much overhead. My overhead is gone up. I need to get my revenues up. So I started making phone calls. I started calling general contractors. Hey, what do you have? What do you have? We added a couple $1 million worth of work to our backlog within a month. Well, then you start running those numbers. You're like, okay, now we're a little bit better. We need to be adding a few more crews. We need to be doing this. So that constantly checking, and that's why I tell everybody that if you're an entrepreneur and you're growing, I don't want to tell you that you need to not spend time with your family, but Saturday mornings you need to get up and be in the office. Doggone it. You need to be in there studying your numbers. You need to be knowing your balance sheet. You need to be knowing your receivables. You need to be putting together the plan for the next 2-3 weeks, plus the next 2 or 3 months, looking ahead. You've got to grind it out. I work every Saturday. I get up. If I know that Ashley has a volleyball game at 10 o'clock Saturday morning, I got to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go in and get my work done. So by 9 o'clock, I'm ready to go pick up Melanie and we're off to wherever we're going. Or I know that Melanie loves to go eat breakfast at 9 o'clock at the local cafe. So I get up, I get my stuff done. We go to breakfast at 9, come back to the office for another hour, then go home and get family time. But if you're growing, you need to be plugging it in.
I agree with that. I like that. Yeah, you got to know your numbers. Here's another good question for you and I think this ties into the culture a little bit. Tell me about. So I think a big problem, especially for me as a young leader, is I'm getting better at this. But how do you encourage people in your company to say, for instance, say you got foremen, you got people in positions that maybe they're leaders, maybe they're not leaders. How do you encourage them to, and how do you set the expectation for them to start moving up and replace themselves, train the replacement, and how do you encourage that and get them to see that I want more money, here's how to get it?
It's there's a couple things there. I'll be honest with you. I always draw this basically it's a pyramid, and I say, listen, in order for us to advance you got to have a crew here, and you got to train them, and then you got to teach somebody how to do this job, and then you got to go get another crew going so that you can move up to here. So it really is, for the lack of a better terms, it really is a pyramid scheme. That's how business works. You got to build a pyramid, and I hate to say that, but that's how it works. It's everything flows down. But I also tell them all the time that, I went into Scott's office the other day, and he was struggling with some things, and I just went into his office and I wrote on his board. We all have a marker board in our offices. I just wrote the word risk, underlined it, and I walked out. And he called me up later and he said, hey, can we talk about what you wrote on my board? And it's like, yeah, I just didn't want to make sure we forgot. Let's talk. I want to make sure we talk about it. So we sat down and we started chatting about it. And he's like, what do you mean risk? And I told him, I said, listen, in everything you do that is going to make a difference, there's risk. You have to learn how to manage the risk. And this is part of what I'm trying to do now, is I'm really trying to mentor to my leaders of understanding that anything that's tough or anything that's really good, that it probably came from a tough choice or a tough decision. As you grow, you have to learn how to handle risk, and you have to know how to fail, and you have to know how to fail quickly so you can recover quickly, because the longer you prolong it, then you have a great big fail, and those are hard to come back from. So have little fails, fail and fail quick is my new thing that I teach around here. And you have to teach your leaders, say, listen, I've got your back. Now you make a really dumb decision. Well, yeah, we're going to sit and talk about it. But you make no decision at all, then I might have to replace you. I might have to find somebody else, because we've got 70 families that are counting on us to make ends meet. We got a lot of responsibility. The good Lord has given us a very, very large amount of responsibility. You have to make good decisions, and you have to make them sooner than later. You sit on something that's not healthy. It's not good. Plus, it eats you alive. It's almost better to make a decision, and if it's a little bit wrong, fix it quickly and recover from it, than when you sit for weeks and think about things. and plug people in and engage them and take a chance on somebody. Doggone it. I'm tired of people saying, well, that guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not very smart. And he's all the, you know what? No, that's not going to work for me. Now, I got a guy in the welding shop that everybody says, oh, he's slow. I said, well, who's went over and helped him? Who's went over to see what it's going to take to speed him up? Well, nobody has. Well, that's not his fault then. That's your guys' fault. Get over there and help him. Take a chance on him. Mentor to him. Plus, he's a doggone good guy. And I like him. So he's not going anywhere.
Yep.
So make him better.
I like that.
Did that answer with leaders on how to handle leaders a little bit?
Yeah. And I like the pyramid thing. I think anybody who's a foreman or a crew on a fence crew or a stain crew or whatever, framing crew or roofer, that's good advice.
Yeah.
You know, that's good advice. Everybody wants to move up, but they don't know how. Replace yourself. Find your replacement, train them, move up.
We say it all the time here. Train your replacement. Don't be afraid to teach somebody your job because you're hoping they will take your job. Mm-hmm. Because if they take your job, we're going to move you up in the company and we're going to give you somebody else to train. And that pyramid just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's how you afford to pay people to do what they're doing, right?
Yep. Exactly. We got Ron Musgraves joining us. Hello from Phoenix. You guys need to meet. You guys would hit it off, I think. Just don't play him in pool.
Yeah, I think I did meet him. Wasn't he at your university?
No, he didn't make it. Make it. Yeah, but
there was a couple of pool sharks there at the university.
Yeah, Ron's a real pool shark, though. He grew up in a pool room, I think.
I'll have to give that game a try sometime. That game.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Here you go. Here's a question for you, Matt. Do you think, so this comes from Zach in Texas. Matt, what do you think about hiring felons or people that can't find jobs because of their past?
I would like to think I have a great philosophy on that. And it's, I call it SBG. Have you ever heard of that?
Nope.
Saved by grace and grace alone.
Gotcha.
So I tell people all the time that we have a number of felons that work here. Matter of fact, a guy that makes me laugh dang near all the time. Him and his wife both went to jail. They had a little bit of a drug problem. They lost their kids. He's one of my top guys right now. Matter of fact, every time he comes by he travels a lot. So every time he comes by the office, he gives me a hug. He loves what he does. I believe that everybody gets a chance. Do you have to be smart? Yes. But you know what? If I know you've had a past, now I know. It's the ones that scare me is the ones that I don't know anything about. The ones that come off as sly or perfect and nothing wrong with them. Those are the ones that scare me because we all have some kind of fault. We all sin by nature. I don't want to get on a huge religious spout here, but I truly do believe, I've even hired people back that have gotten in trouble because, and they've asked me, why'd you hire me back? And I say, I don't know. Why did Christ go to the cross for me? It doesn't make any sense. He got flogged and was just one whip away from dying, from being flogged for me. And I'm an asshole. I don't know because I probably shouldn't have said that. Sorry, Caleb. We're probably going to get kicked off of whatever we're doing now because
that's all right. We've been banned before. No, that makes sense. So when you do, let's say you do bend over, we'll call it bending over backwards because that's what what the world would say. Would say, so you're going to bend over backwards for me. How do you tell them that? How do you say, look, man, I'm going sticking my neck out here for you. Don't let me down. How do you go about that conversation?
I really don't. I don't say that at all. A lot of times I'll ask them their story. What happened? Where you at? Try to get in their head a little bit to see if they're in the right frame of mind. I don't want to put anybody else in danger or in trouble. But I try to surround them with somebody that's going to be a good influence on them. Early on, when I would hire somebody like that, a felon or something, I would maybe put them in my group so I can keep an eye on them, especially for the first couple of weeks to get a good evaluation on it. But I wouldn't go to them and say, "Hey, I'm going to take a chance on you." No, I don't think that that's the right thing to say. I think what you need to say is, "I believe in you," and encourage them to that. Hey, your past is your past, and by the way, you have a clean bill of health with me, bud. So let's go. And until you do me wrong, I tell people all the time, you want to get fired, lie to me, steal from me, or litter. That's my 3 rules of getting fired. Now, the handbook says if you get a DUI in a company vehicle, you're going to get terminated also. But my rules are don't lie to me, don't steal from me, and don't litter. If you can do those 3 things, we're going to figure out a spot for you around here. I'm pretty transparent with them on that. That's my expectation. Keep it simple.
I love it.
I
man.
believe everybody gets a chance, and I bet you out of our 70 some guys, I bet you we have 25 felons working for us. I love them.
It is what it is, man. I love it. That's encouraging. I like that.
So yeah, it's tough though. You got to be smart. You know, if somebody still has an addiction or a problem, you know that you can disrupt your culture pretty quick. Drugs are a bad thing, man. My mom's still hooked on them.
Yeah, it's a bad thing. Well, that's it. We got one more hello from Boston, from Todd Skolsky. So I appreciate that. Yeah,
Boston.
Maybe he's in Martha's Vineyard. Anyways, man, I've had a blast talking with you. I appreciate it, and I think everybody listening probably took something away from it. And I know you got to get back to work.
I do.
I got a meeting with with somebody to look at numbers. So get to go have that fun. I like that stuff though. So
yeah,
it's all right.
I love it.
We got a hello from my salesman. So where can everybody find you at? It's Empire Fence and Netting, right?
Empire-fence.com is our website. Empire Netting and Fence is the company name. MySalesman.com is our software that we use that we help qualify. I guess I didn't even really give them a plug. I will tell you, My Salesman's growing. People are starting to understand how valuable time is. So on that note, maybe next time we can talk a little more about that. Caleb, I also want you to know that you're an outstanding human being. You're doing a great job in the industry, and you are just an amazing human. And you and your wife are. I was at Martha's Vineyard. That's funny. But you and your wife are outstanding humans. So thank you for being such good people.
Well, thank you for putting me under your wing the last few years. I really appreciate that. So it means the world to me. All right, man.
Friendship. All right, buddy. I'm going to let you go.
Have a good one. We'll see you.
See ya.
So there it was, Matt Warner. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. The My Salesman tool we were talking about, that's how we could give that free estimate tool you see us talking about. That's all that is. It's handy. It works good, and we use it. So if you got a fence company or a stain company, maybe you should check that out. Highly recommend it. But that's it. Stain and Seal Experts podcast, guys. Appreciate you joining us. Check us out at stainandsealexperts.com. We'll see you guys next week.